And if you see the picture on your right, you can see the holes there, the holes in the stomach. So that's how it is. When you do an endoscopy, you look into the stomach, you see those holes. That's when they now say the person has peptic ulcer disease. The next slide. There's also something before that one. There's also something called GERD. So remember the sphincters that we talked about. The sphincters are supposed to stop the acid from going up again, from regurgitating into the esophagus. And also, when the food is going down to the small intestine, to go down, bit by bit. But when the sphincter in the esophagus is lax, like in the second picture on your right, the first picture, see the sphincter is intact. So the fluid there and the food there cannot go back. But if you look at the second picture, you can see the food going back. And when it's going back, remember it's mixed already with acid. So it will go back to the esophagus, and the esophagus is not protected like the stomach. So it can corrode the walls of the esophagus, causing ulcers there, and also causing pain there, okay? And when the pyloric sphincter, that's the one going to the duodenum, is also lax, instead of trickling down for the duodenum to take care of the acid, it will pour down. It will be like the food just pours there and corrodes the walls of the esophagus. Okay, so that's GERD. Some people know about that. That's why I wanted to also mention that. Okay, next slide. Causes. What are the causes? We've talked about the imbalance of the acid and the digestive juices. If there is an imbalance, we'll talk about the things that will cause the imbalance. Okay, some of the things will be Helicobacter pylori, H. pylori. Many people have done it, this test. And what is it? It's a bacteria that is found in the stomach. When they discovered this bacteria, they now thought that they could cure ulcer. Some people, if you eradicate this bacteria, then ulcer will be cured for some people, if that is the cause. But that's not the only cause of ulcer. Okay, so what this bacteria does is produces ammonia. The ammonia and some urease, some other substances that can corrode the walls of the stomach too and cause ulcer. Then stress induces acid production. So stress, burns, severe illnesses, stress at work, all the stresses that can induce acid production, causing ulcer. Then chronic use of NSAIDs. What are NSAIDs? NSAIDs are these drugs that we take. Ibuprofen, Feldin, Alabukun, all that, especially for the older people that have arthritis, that take a lot of these drugs. These drugs can corrode the lining of the stomach. So you have to be very careful when taking these drugs. They cause ulcer. Then the next slide, we have smoking. Smoking causes acid production again, and alcohol disrupts the mucus secretion. Remember we said mucus. The mucus secretion is supposed to protect the acid from